speak with you. Said my name is H.K. Edward Opa, and I came to Dallas in 1985. And when I came, the first job I had was serving in a restaurant as a boss boy, at the Amateur. It's a job, I had to do it. But, being persuaded by the American dream and the desire and the passion to do more, I went to University of, then it was not Texas State University, and I ended up in less than 4 years I was in America. I was chief real estate appraiser for the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. In the days of those banking crisis, I was the first one in March of 1989, promoted as a regional appraiser manager in charge of 8 states. At that time, there wasn't even an opportunity. There were no Latinos, there were no African Americans doing business, contracting business with FDIC as a receiver. I was the one, when I observed that absence, I went to my supervisor and I said, "What's going on?" He said, "Well, it's your call." So I went out and spoke to the association, the African American Association, NARA, National Association of Real Estate Brokers, and then I went to the Greater Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And so in the first video that FDIC did to promote diversity, I was in. I did that job because, we're in America. If you came 400 years ago, 40 days ago, 4 years ago, we came for a purpose, to add to whatever this country has given us and is about to give us. So I don't see color, I see strength in diversity. I did that job, I resigned, for the 25 years I've been in the country, I've owned my own business for 21 years. I'm in real estate. I'm one of the first minorities to be certified as an appraiser in the state of Texas in 1992. I'm a real estate broker, property tax consultant. I've done, if you're familiar with downtown, which I'm sure all of you are, the building there on the corner of Hackett and Main, residential tower, was the first residential tower to be done in downtown Dallas in 42 years. I put that together in 2005. Nobody said, they will let you do it, who are you, and all of that. We went through it. The video boards you see downtown, it's my project. And what that was when I was doing my graduate program in Harvard, going back and forth. It took me 3 years with my team to put that whole thing together. I've been through the Citizens Police Academy, 1999. This is when I graduated from the FBI Citizens Program. In fact, the first Hispanic special agent in charge of Dallas, Lupe Gonzalez, he's the one that gave me this lapel. Because he always said, "Edward, you always have good comments and questions." So when I was graduating, he gave me that. So that's Lupe to my right, me in the middle, and the second in command in the FBI. So law enforcement, I'm not a sworn officer, but I take interest in law enforcement. Because without an effective law enforcement, it's hard to have neighborhoods and economic development. Because security is important. How do you spend in your neighborhood? How do you go around and do anything? You have to have a sense of security. Crime has to be down. You have to have crime down. And we have to continue. One crime is enough. It doesn't have to be whatever the number is. We want to live in a society, in a community where we feel safe. And who does that? The community have to believe in the law enforcement, because the basic tenet of law enforcement is respect that uniform and the badge. And the community have to feel confident that the police or the sheriff is their friend. When they have that sense, because the police is not a ghost or have some other extra knowledge about things. The community don't share that information or have confidence in what the police is doing. How is law enforcement going to work? So when you look at Dallas, sometimes is Dallas a city, a river with a dam? I.e., what happens on the other side of a dam? Or should Dallas be a city that acts like a sprinkler system? A sprinkler system. Dallas is a 5-bedroom house. The downtown, the north, east, south, and west. If you have 2 sections of your 5-bedroom house doing well, and the other sections are not, would you feel comfortable? No, just ask, would you feel comfortable? So we have to make an effort to mobilize the resources. What is our resources? Sometimes you may want to invest $10 million on one side, but that $10 million is not needed on the other side. So the leadership has to be one that mobilizes, energizes, and enhances what is on the table. There are people that live on one section of the city don't want to go there. But we have to be able to go do what? Go to any section of the city. Right now we have budget issues. How do we deal with that? You know, I ask you the question. How many of you will lay off your spouse or your kid because you no longer make the money you have? How many? You make an adjustment. You adjust that revenue. So when we lay off, where are those people going to go? Because the economy is tight, so you got to look at that budget and see, are we doing it right to where we are really addressing the issues, or are we just grabbing money and borrowing money? Because deficit is what? Deficit is good. However, if the revenue that is going to support the deficit is being challenged, then you are doing what? Constantly in debt. And then we're a global village. We're a global village. At a time in our history, we grew domestically because we were supporting our own needs and desires. But now, we're no longer the only option in the world. Other regions of the world are coming up strong. So how does that impact the American economy? You need somebody who has a natural relationship with the world. You know, I came from Nigeria. My father was a chief during the colonial time, chief after independence, chief during the Civil War. He was my chief at the age of 19. My older sister's husband was one of the governors in Nigeria in 1997. You know, my grandfather was the court interpreter. He was the one helping the colonial masters to interpret English to the Igbo language that I spoke. So when you look at leadership, I grew up in it. But it wasn't leadership to flex your muscle, it was leadership for service. Because my father at the age of 27 in 1955, built a teacher's training college in my village. Just in 25 in those days. So that is the sort of thing I grew up in. When I've been in Dallas, I've been to Mexico. We did a project in Monterrey, Mexico. Monterrey. You know, that was my first time doing in Mexico. Been to Central America. I just came back from what, Middle East. So as your mayor, I am natural in any part of the world. I will also recognize the potential that Dallas has. Because by 2025, there's going to be 4 million of us. Just Dallas is expected to grow. So how do we deal with the water shortage? Water is going to be a major issue. So how do we begin to look at, in our geographical area, where we're going to get that water? How do we do the infrastructure, our neighborhood street, housing, you know, job creation and job retention? All businesses don't have to be national chain. How do we grow those small businesses? I have a program how I will create 54 jobs for $1 million. If you do that consistently for 4 years, what is that? 4 times 4, that's 216 jobs with $4 million. And that will be business in the neighborhood. You know, I have this program I'm going to call Dallas Got Talent Business Competition. You have to live in the district and compete for that job. Because sometimes it's mom and pop. A whole lot of us grew up working in our family business. And some small businesses didn't have 100,000 to start. 5,000. But because you have what I call PhD. And what is PhD? Passion, hard work, and dedication. If you have that as an individual, you will defy any art. And so imagine us as a city. And we have that passion. And we look at the potential, or whatever we call challenges. Those are the opportunities. How do we make our neighborhood? Look at some of the zip codes. If we look at neighborhood improvement plan and enforce neighborhood conditions, you will find out that if the market reacts to those neighborhood conditions, and we have 10% reaction to that neighborhood improvement, and you capture that reaction with this tax rate, property tax rate, without increasing the tax rate, the city of Dallas, we have $150 million just by enforcing neighborhood conditions. And what is that? The streets and cover. So, thank you. Maybe I went too long, but
No, that's fine, except we just have to make sure we get some questions in.
this is it.
One of the first questions I'm going to ask is, since you're seeking our endorsement,
Yes.
the Latino Police Officers Association, what can you tell us? What do you know about us? What do you know about our history? What do you know about Latino?
Thank you for the question. I mean, the association started in 1972. And again, it embraces police officers, sheriffs, anybody that is involved in law enforcement. And the goal of the association cannot be more than what service to the community, dedication, encouraging. Because we're a diverse community, we need people that look like us to police us. Law enforcement, if you look at law enforcement, using the Metropolitan London Police as the oldest, because they're the oldest law enforcement in the world, what is it? People feel more secure when people that look like them police them. So when you guys came into the system with your formation in 1972, it adds to the value of the policing in that community. And such association needs to be encouraged. Because all fingers are not equal. They're shaped differently. But all fingers have to do work in unison to make the hand effective. And that's what it is for me. The association is welcome. As your mayor, I will support it, I will promote it. Because again, the more of us do the same thing to promote our city, the better all of us are going to be.
Yeah. Right. As you stated before, you said the city has budget problems. As police officers, we took a 3% cut last year. What are your plans to restore that and make us a better department?
Thank you. When I look at budget issues, there's not going to be one size fits all solution. Again, I go back to something. Are we really budgeting properly? Because again, if you look at the way we've been doing our budget system, we've done it because of the old style, because we grew into ourselves domestically. And a lot of money came into our system because people believed we were stable. But now, if you look at the dollar as a store of wealth globally, that has come down because you have the euro and you have other regional currencies. So we have to look at how we budget. Do we have to consolidate some departments so that we can increase effectiveness? Again, if we all have to make an adjustment, i.e. so that nobody is laid off, but we have to look at how we spend our money. I grew up in a system where it is not how much money one really has, it's the attitude to the money. So maybe our attitude has been that wasteful. So how do we go in and look at that? So for the police officers, because the police officers are critical to our economic stability, to the sense of security that enables us to be who we are. We have to look at that system. I have the solution idea, for instance, if you look at the police cars, how many years are they on the road? Some of the things in our warehouse, we can sell it because they are developing countries. There are developing countries that may buy this equipment. They are, I don't want to say somebody's trash is somebody's treasure. But if we sell those, whatever money we realize from it, and we put it in a sinking fund, okay, let's say we realize $1 million annually, and we put it in a sinking fund, which is an annuity to grow at a certain percentage, we use that to address any such faults that are going to come from the police department. Because we have something other people may want. So this is what I will look at. I understand finance, not that I understand it better than anybody, but I understand it to where I know how adjustments could be made. When I came to America, I was getting $2.35 an hour, and I was still going to college. I have never borrowed money to go to college in my life, because you have to adjust. I'm not saying everybody will do that, but I'm just saying it will be good that we look at our system to see how such a thing works. So what I will do to cushion a shortfall is look at what I call the budget cushioning measures account to protect something like that 3 or 2%.
Thank you.